morning, everyone. Welcome to the conversation on TOS TV Network, your digital first Pan-African news network. It's Tuesday, 29th of June 2021. The month is like almost wrapping up, literally the second to the last day in the month of June. I don't know how to feel about that. We're literally going into the next quarter of 2021. It's like the year has run by really fast. Anyways, my name is Adesuwa.
And I am Sagir Ibrahim. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Good morning, Adesuwa.
Good morning, Sagir. How do you feel that we're actually,
well,
entering into the next quarter?
It's the end of the month, and I think people need to realize that this is the second half. So we're about entering into the second half of the year.
I said second quarter.
So you need to have a reassessment of your priorities, as well as, go back to the drawing board and look at the plans you had for the year, to see how much progress you've made. And if you've not made much, I think now is the best time for you to re-strategize and look forward to achieving those goals, those dreams, that you plan on doing in the year 2021. If it's to lose weight, if it's to make money, or perhaps live a better life, go on a diet, go on a trip, whatever it is, you need to go back to the drawing board and do so. I think you were having one, but I thought you wanted to add a little weight then.
I feel like
let's go back to the drawing board at this one. Go back to the drawing board. You need to start eating so that we are.
But I feel like we have too many motivational speakers in TOS television.
Well, it's not motivation, but what I'm saying is you need to go back to the table, have a reassessment of your goals, and it's just 6 months left in the year 2021. So do those things you plan on doing, and just keep going. Hopefully you have a great year ahead. A great 2021. We're all hoping so.
Okay. Like I saw a post last night. Somebody said, I can't believe that in 6 months, 2020 is going to be 2 years ago.
Well.
Wow. That's kind of intense. Okay, I haven't, listened to Saga with all the motivation, for Tuesday. We're going to go on a break now, and we'll be bringing you the quote of the day. And after which, we're bringing you stories and developments from across Africa.
Always remember,
this man I have creative design. We really like it, but
you deserve a break. You can indulge in a cup of 3-in-1 Cadbury Hot Chocolate. Cadbury Hot Chocolate. Indulge. Now available in the 450 grams pouch.
All right, it's about that time we'll bring you up to speed with happenings and developments from across Africa. And we'll be starting from here in Nigeria, where the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, that's SANU, has blamed the federal government's introduction of the Integrated Payroll and Personal Information System, IPPRS, noting that the system made their members poorer and also worsened their salary status. This was made known by SANU's National President Mohammed Haruna Ibrahim in Bauchi during the weekend at the Maiden Northeast Zonal Executive Meeting and Workshop, which was tagged Team Building for Effective Service Delivery and Strategic Position for Influencing the Influencer. According to Ibrahim, the major crux is that our 2009 agreement, that somersaulted agreement, that agreement that was not done with some level of preparedness, has given us so much problems as a member of SANU. What's your take on this one?
Why would you go into an agreement knowing fully well that this agreement is going to cause you problems?
They may not necessarily have known the outcome. You know that sometimes on paper it looks really good. And then while executing, and you begin to see that, there's a loophole here, there's a fault here, this is actually not, very favorable for our members.
I believe when these guys go on strike or threaten strike action or industrial actions, there are certain deliverables they want. If you're not giving us this, or if you don't compromise to this extent, we're not going to come to the table, and we're not going to compromise up until this level.
Yes.
You understand? So if you know that you had a couple of these things as what you need to be done, and the government agreed to it, and the government factored some of its own demands, and you agreed to it, then what are we talking about?
Well,
I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
I get your
because
standpoint, but I'm
you
saying
agreed to all of this with your
Yeah.
eyes open, wide
Yes.
open. I know initially ASU, as well as the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, were fully against the eyepiece.
Yes.
However, the Senior Staff Association of University at some point, what I'm trying to say is they were not muzzled into
Yes,
accepting it.
I get your point.
They accepted it, and now, I mean, for you to have said that it is making our members poorer, how so? Was there a loophole from which you were making money initially? Now, mind you, I might not understand the full situation of what it
Yes,
is right now, but I'm just talking based on what I read and my understanding of the payroll system. So, as the government said, the essence of the IPPIS is just to ensure that, number one, there are no leakages, number two, there are no loopholes, number three, to prevent corruption, and number four, to ensure that people who at some point were collecting double salary, they truncate that and stop that from happening. So for them to come out and say it probably means, I might not have all of my facts together, it probably means that there was an avenue through which they were making money.
And then now it's been shot.
That is just it.
All right.
Okay, to other issues, former President of Nigeria, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, has expressed concerns over the incessant crime wave in the country, citing illicit drug consumption as a major factor. He said this during a courtesy call paid to him by the Chief Executive Officer of the Albino Foundation, Jake Ekpele, its management and partners, to appreciate him for paying the bills of persons with albinisms to secure treatment. He said the health sector in the country needs to be revamped to meet international standards.
I mean, everyone in Nigeria already knows all of this.
The good thing about this is, initially, we've been having conversations about how the Nigerian health system, the healthcare system, and the health sector needs to be rehabilitated, needs to be revamped. More hands and more money needs to be invested, as much as is invested in security, to ensure that an average Nigerian has access to not just healthcare, but quality healthcare. And I mean, this call has always gone on deaf ears. However, the COVID-19 pandemic exposed the vulnerability of the Nigerian healthcare system. It was so bad that we had to literally be building facilities while we're treating, COVID-19 cases in other facilities. These are facilities that are supposed to have been done or prepared already. Perhaps if we had a quality healthcare system that could cater for the influx of COVID-19 infections we had back then in 2020, this wouldn't have been exposed. However, what Goodluck Jonathan is saying is it's still something that the government needs to look into. But I must also add that it's not like the country has had it good in the past, say, 10, 15, or 20 years.
Yes, I get your point.
A couple of administrations have come into power, and we have just seen a repetition of the same thing going on continuously. The healthcare system, the education system, and a couple of other sectors in the Nigerian economy are in shambles. Until the government comes to the table and start doing all of these things and thinking how we could get these things right to ensure that Nigerians enjoy their dividend for democracy, I mean, then the conversation is just null and void.
Okay, still in Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari has reacted to new threats by a militant group called the Niger Delta Avengers to cause instability in the Niger Delta region of the country. The group had threatened to sabotage Nigeria's economy by attacking the oil installations in the region. They also threatened to attack politicians collaborating with the Nigerian government to undermine the interests of the region. The president, in a statement by the presidential spokesperson Femi Adesina on Sunday, described the group's statement as curious. He said this during his meeting on Friday with the leadership of the Ijaw National Congress, that's the INC, who visited him at the presidential villa.
I think we're beginning to have another round of issues and problems from the Niger Delta region. Now, just have a look at this. We have the Boko Haram in the northeast. We have bandits disturbing us here in the north central. We have a couple of herdsmen attack as well in the northwest. The issue with the tribal and intercommunal clashes we're having in the northwest as well. In the southwest, we are still having same issues around bandits attacking and kidnapping and all of that. And now in the south, we are having this. Mind you, in the southeast, we still have issues of IPOB and ESN, the Eastern Security Network. So what this would basically mean is that in the next couple of months to a year time, every zone or every geopolitical zone in Nigeria is going to be riddled with one form of insecurity issues
But I
or
think
the
that
other.
is already the case. Isn't that already the case? I think every geopolitical zone in Nigeria is actually riddled with insecurity issues.
Okay, basically what I'm saying is every geopolitical zone will now be identified with its own individual insecurity
okay.
issue.
I think I get what you mean right now.
That's where we are going right
Yes.
now until something is done decisively. Because I mean it's just something to see that the Niger Delta Avengers are coming up again, this time threatening and promising we will start bombing this pipeline because we are not getting we are not being treated the way we should be treated.
But isn't this whole issue what the petroleum industry bill is supposed to actually address? I think it's the fact that it feel very exempted from the revenue that comes from petrol and all of that stuff. I think that is where the issue is coming from, and
Okay,
I think
so
that is what the PIB is supposed to address.
So the PIB is supposed to address all of this issue. Let me ask you a question: has the PIB been passed?
That is the problem. That's
So
where the problem is.
let's
So we
just
should be
leave it as
looking
it is.
exactly. So we should just be looking at passing the bill, maybe all of that.
Okay, finally, Benue leaders, in a bid to put an end to the constant farmers and herders clash in the state and to restore peace and stability, began talks with Miyetti Allah on how to resolve and find a lasting solution to the crisis that has rendered thousands homeless in the state. The secret talks, however, were without the involvement of Governor Samuel Otom, whose administration has enacted an anti-open grazing law, which orders are complied with. But the two groups have resolved to reach out to their members on some of the issues raised during the plenary talks. I saw in the headlines today that the governor stated that out of the 23 local government areas in Benue State, 18 currently are facing issues, with bandits and herdsmen.
Yes.
Currently. So that means out of 23 local governments, only 5 is free, reportedly, because they might be there currently and right now and will not know. And I want to ask a question: why is it that when issues or conversations around banditry, and herdsmen attacks are brought up, you hear names like the Miyetti Allah, you hear names like Sheikh Gumi, and other people who can be pinpointed and connected to these people, as if it's where an organized group who carry out pre-planned attacks on these local governments or in this state? If that were the issue, then for goodness sake, why is the government not taking more decisive action to ensure that all of these issues, now the action does not have to be violent, but why are they not taking these actions to ensure that all of these issues are settled beforehand, to ensure that no life is lost and blood is not spilled, to avoid bloodshed, carnage, destruction of life and properties, because currently as it is, thousands of farmers are not going to their farms.
Yeah.
And the implication of that to the Nigerian food economy, the country's food security. As it is currently, the international community, according to their statistics from a research carried out, is saying that in the next couple of months to a year, the Northeast might be in a serious famine.
Yes.
As a result of this. So we need to start thinking proactively, as a matter of fact, to ensure that these issues are sorted before they happen. Because our reactionary approach currently is not helping anybody. I mean, a couple of weeks ago to a month ago, the Niger State governor decried the presence of Boko Haram in Niger State, just an hour or a couple of minutes, like 45 minutes away from the city center. As it is currently, I have heard reports of people being abducted here in Abuja. So what is the essence of having a security architecture that doesn't even cover the nation's capital, first of all, not to talk of states across the country who have continually experienced these issues despite the fact that they have kept calling on the government and the various security agencies for assistance. We have heard severally that the government is saying that the Boko Haram has been technically defeated, and they've gained a couple of grounds against the Boko Haram. They've reclaimed territories and all of that. However, it is still in the news that the Boko Haram and ISWAP are merging, and soon will be recruiting more bandits to cause even more mayhem and havoc to Nigerians. Right. So what are we saying? The earlier we get to the table to ensure that this is done and to prevent more bloodshed from being spilled and to prevent destruction of lives and property, the better for all of us as a nation.
I literally feel like Sagar is my guest on the show this morning, but okay. All right, with that, it's a wrap on, the Development Across Africa segment. We'll be bringing you, COVID-19 updates from across Africa right now. And afterwards, we'll be looking at front pages of Nigerian newspapers this morning.
TOS TV Network mobile app is now available. You can now catch up on our breaking news, stream our programs live, watch out for the latest update on sport and politics as they unfold. You can also get notifications for our upcoming programs and events. All these on our TOS TV Network mobile app, available on Apple Store and Google Play Store. TOS TV News from Africa by Africans.
Being a journalist means in-depth analysis that unravels hidden truths, that question the status quo and fact-checks government.
These criminal elements hiding under the cloak of surveillance contractors are the APC elements.
Do you have facts to prove that? Being a journalist means waking up every day with a burning desire for peace, equity, and justice for all citizens.
We're being told that the choice you have is to take the lesser of two evils.
It means patriotism via the prism of objectivity and accountability. It means giving my platform to the masses to discuss issues that matter to them.
Some of them, if they bring budget and the budget they lose. Some of them sleep. They're going to ask how much you are on. I have it.
Thereby shaping government policies and laws. My name is Osasu Igbenegbu, and I am the People's Journalist.
It is still the conversation on your digital first Pan-African News Network, TOS Television, and like I always say, you could be part of the conversation by connecting with us on our various social media channels on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TOSTVNetwork.com. You could also watch the conversation via our website at www.TOSTVNetwork.com, as well as watch some of our other programs and content via our YouTube page at TOS TV Network. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It is the newspaper segment of the conversation this morning, where we'll be looking at a couple of newspaper headlines. And this morning we'll be starting with the Daily Independent newspaper, and right from the very top we see fintech poses threats to banks' profitability, and that's according to reports. Right beside that we see CBN releases 50,000 metric tons of maize to Obasanjo farms, 11 others, and underneath the newspaper name, the banner headline there, we see defections, APC, a highly unprincipled party, and that's from Sage, and we have a rider there which says PDP governors joining ruling party are opportunists. Underneath with the picture of the day there, we see Nigeria loses $30 billion annually to revenue leakages, and that's according to reps. That will be found on page 6 of the Daily Independent newspaper, and there are a couple of other headlines scattered across the Daily Independent newspaper of this morning. You could quickly grab a copy to get yourself informed.
Now let's look at the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. The very first headline there says, new revenue sharing formula ready this year. That's coming from the federal government. Road crashes killed 2,233 Nigerians in 4 months. Deputy Governor remains as senators, reps, others follow Matawali to APC. And the banner headline on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning is on restructuring. ACF puts northern lawmakers on alert. We must reject plots to divide Nigeria. That's for the Sultan, saying that we'll discharge our responsibilities. That's from Femi Gbajabiamila. Nothing on ground to restructure. That's coming from the CNJ, and that's on page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning.
Yeah, we'll move to the Business Day newspaper and start with the banner headline there, how China, India, Vietnam lifted millions out of poverty. Besides that, just quickly beside the picture of the day there, we see explainer what it costs to make a national passport. Underneath that story, we see inside Honeywell flour mills, banks on affordable pricing to sustain growth. And underneath that, we see Yamcon places Nikon hotels for sale. And that could be found on page 31 of the Business Day newspaper of this morning. You could quickly grab a copy of the Business Day newspaper to get yourself updated.
You're looking at the Nigerian News Direct. That is the last front page we're going to be looking at. Quite a number of headlines scattered across this one. The very gaping headline, that's the banner headline on the Nigerian News Direct, says banks, others intensify borrowing from CBN amid liquidity challenges. Borrowing rose by 183%. That's on page 2. Underneath that, alleged 900 million naira fraud. ICPC to arraign ex-JAM registrar Dibu Ojerinde on July 6th. No fraudulent dealings in planned equity participation in Dangote refinery. That's NNPC saying that petroleum product marketers have no plan to go on strike. That's coming from IBMAN president. And underneath the picture of the day, why there is crisis in Kwara, that's coming from APC. Well, why there is crisis in Kwara APC, that's coming from Governor Abdul Razak. And then the last one says open market, porous border, inducing illicit drug circulation in Nigeria. Oambuwa reveals, and that's on page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct.
And that's it for the newspaper segment of the conversation this morning. We'll go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll be bringing you the big story.
At the first sign of pain, you need a solution that you can trust to provide effective relief and is gentle on the stomach. Try Panadol Caplets for relief from headaches, body aches, and fever. With Panadol's Optizorb formula, the tablet gently breaks down in the stomach, quickly absorbs, and starts providing pain relief in 15 minutes. For fast and effective pain relief that you can trust, try Panadol Caplets. This has been Medifact for Panadol.
You won't go shake your body. Instead, they make it calm down. Eat a farm say sabi. You want to grow 6 packs in a day. I beg you not to pass your power. You want to show yourself, oh.
Whatever your size, find it with the new Airtel data plans. Dial *141# now to get the plan that suits you. Airtel, the smartphone network.
This is the conversation on your digital first Pan-African News Network, TOS Television, and you could be part of the conversation by connecting with us on our various social media channels on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, as well as watch us live on our website at www.tostvnetwork.com. You could also stream some of our contents on our YouTube page at tostvnetwork.com. It is the big story segment of the conversation this morning, and the focus is going to be on insecurity and the merger between Boko Haram, ISWAP, and recruitment of Bandits. With us here in the studio is Mr. Jonathan Onoja, and he is a security consultant. He will be discussing this issue and as well as other issues with us this morning. Thank you for joining us in the studio, Mr. Onoja.
Thank you, Sagi.
Yes, so first, what is your reaction to the alleged merger between the Boko Haram and ISWAP?
Well, it's not news to us, for us that know. It is not shocking to us, for us that know. We have, it's unfortunate that we keep advising government and our our recommendations have not been put into considerations. It's saddening, but what can we do? It's a nation. We keep preferring solutions to the situations at hand. For us that know, like I said, the merger is not today. So it's not a breaking news like it's supposed to be. It's a situation that have been around. The U.S. intelligence gave us some intelligence reports sometime April, and they said, look, ISWAP is infiltrating the southern part of the country, you know, and nothing was done about it. They came in, you know, hosted the flag, and the merger with, you know, all of these other young coming terrorists been around before, you know. Look, they say ISIS rather, when ISIS took over, infiltrates a certain part of the country, they came and emerged with ISWAP or whatever we call them, Boko Haram, you know, and they have been operating. Are you hearing me? So I think it is, like I keep saying, their recruitment to break the situations on ground, their recruitment of bandits or anything is still something that we still have to fit our way, because bandits, Boko Haram, or whatever you call them, is a chain. They work together. It's just a department. I can say bandits is a department of Boko Haram. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
And ISWAP, like we all call it, or Boko Haram, is also a partner, in partnership with ISIS. So it is still bound to our government understanding that the reason they can survive recruitment or fresh recruitment of our youth into this hooliganism and terrorism and banditry is because, one, they have failed to address the youth restiveness.
Okay. Let's go on a quick break now, and when we return, the conversation will continue. Welcome back. It's still the conversation on TOS TV Network. Back to you, Mr. Onoja. So I was asking, the Katsina State Governor made a declaration stating and telling his Katsina indigents that, look, you have to get yourself protected any means necessary, because the way it's looking, I don't think the government or the constitutionally established policing system can protect you from these bandits or from these headsmen who attack in the middle of the night. So I think it's best for you to seek an alternative means to protect yourself, so you don't look like sitting ducks when these guys come in the dead of the night to cause whatever mayhem. So in your opinion, has it gotten this bad to the extent that a sitting governor, you know, declares and tells his people, seek an alternative means to protect yourself?
Well, going by your statement, for you saying the governor is saying that you should look for any means necessary, I underline it that it's going to undermine the intelligence of our Nigerian security agencies. No governor, should, emulate that, telling the indigents to protect themselves with any means necessary. Why are you there as a governor? It's a reverse psychology. You should seek for an alternative, legal alternative measures means to protect your people. But asking the indigents to protect themselves is as good as resign. So, one that is credible and also capable to take over the seat. You are there as a governor to protect their lives. That is why you are the first security officer of the state.
The chief security officer.
So if you cannot protect the people, then you should resign, humbly resign, so that a more capable hands can take over the seat. Recently, I wrote to His Excellency Governor Samuel Oton, the governor of Benue State, and I was, in my letter, making him to understand the need for the indigents to carry lethal weapons. But doing that, there are stages and there are procedures, and there are people that must be accredited, verified, vetted, and they must undergo trainings to be able to carry these lethal weapons. Are you me? So it's not everybody. Don't generalize your statement in that light, because somebody somewhere will just take that statement and say, since the governor has said we should protect ourselves, and we're going to use that statement against you in time to come, that it is the governor and following the order of the governor.
But don't you think he gave that directive because the security situation is literally out of his hand at this point?
Well, the security situation is not only in Castina. Are you in me? The governor of Imo State would have as well said it is time for us to protect ourselves. So if the governor of Benue State said it is time for us to protect ourselves, then it means that the center cannot hold again. So it should be a wake-up call to the federal government that there is need for them to look at the possibilities of integrating the indigenes into community policing. Are you in me? And I've often advised and advocate that it is time for Mr. President to assent to the Nigerian Peace Corps bill. This is a bill that have lot of youths at different quotas. They have command at 30 states, and that means that they have indigenes in each of these states working there as an officer of the Nigerian Peace Corps. If this bill is established, what they will now have to do is involving and integrating society for a purpose of community policing. Are you with me? So there will no need of our police officers, army being overstretched with duties of intelligence and all of that. For the natives are involved in that policing, and they understand their people better than you that just posted. From example, you're posted from Akwa Ibom to Benue, you're posted from Benue to Akwa Ibom or to Kaduna. The indigenes in that place knows better than you that just comes in there.
Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
You spoke about, intelligence and then the Nigerian security forces earlier. So I was just going to, go back to the merger between ISIS, ISWAP, and Boko Haram, right? Looking at the activities recently and then the level of intelligence gathering that they've displayed so far, are you of the opinion that our security forces don't have the capacity and capability to actually handle them at this point?
At this point, I tell you, the Nigerian police and Nigerian security, DSX and all of that, they're actually trying their best. But their best is not enough to mitigate the challenges. They can't challenge them at the moment because you know why? Let's not deny ourselves the opportunity of telling ourselves truth. The natives are involved as an intelligence officer. They have recruited the youth, bandits. That is why it is possible that over 1,000, over 200 people will be kidnapped from a school, and just with few persons of 20 people, they will parade them into a forest, and there will be nobody to give a description of how they comes in and how they went. Why? Because there is an insider. Insecurity. If there's no insider, if there's no threat within, the one outside cannot gain access. So there's an insider within the environment that fills them with intelligence. And just a youth sleeping and snoring at the morning time, just come and say, this is 100,000 for your deal. And it just goes and do more of it. So it is because the youths are not employed. So when they are talking about recruitment, ISWAP have told us before they're going to recruit females because that's the best target. Then what they want to use them for is to gather intelligence. You understand it? Is to be able to penetrate into sophisticated targets. So when you talk about recruitment, they are using it against the government because government has failed to address unemployment situations. So if the people are employed, you will not see anybody to engage.
Okay, that was the question I was going to ask as a matter of fact.
Basically, so that's about it for us this morning on the conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us on the conversation this morning. As I always say, the conversation comes to you every weekday, and that means we're going to be back here tomorrow. But before then, you have to be a part of the TOS TV community. So follow TOS TV across all social media platforms. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And of course, subscribe to TOS TV Network on YouTube. And do not forget to stream our content on www.tostvnetwork.com. My name is Adesu. I'll see you.
And I am Sagir Ibrahim. Thank you so much for watching, and see you tomorrow.